Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam to all of you, Jai Sri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu's, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
My computer is running out of memory, so it's running really slow. Okay, Haribol, now we start.
So,
Om
Prabhu,
Namo.
may
Yes,
I
Prabhu.
start, please?
Yes, Prabhu, please read.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakcharoन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगदा मह्यं ददाति सपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतपदकं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृष्णवान्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पत्तानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनि नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वते गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यादि पाश्चात्य स्थारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृणोतां सुखदा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन प्रत्यन्दस्तोय भद्राणि द्रौति सुरसतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी for starting this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead Narayana and to Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Sri Vyasdeva, the other. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in every uncertain even factor of truthful devotee, with desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed there to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead who is blessed with transcendental songs is established at an irrevocable fact.
Haribol, thank you so much, Prabhu. Oh, this annoying computer is lagging today. So who wants to read first? Hare Krishna Praveen Prabhu Danda Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for joining.
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam Jai Sri Prabhupada. I will start maybe.
Okay, Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Praveen, Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Dhanvat Pranam, Prabhu. Jai Shri Prabhu. Okay, let me start. Canto 4, Chapter 1, Text 21. Tapyamanam Tribhuvanam Pranayamaidha Sagnina Nirgatena Muner Murdhanah Samikshya Prabhavas synonyms. Tapyamanam, while practicing austerities. Tribhuvanam, the three worlds. Pranayama, practice by breathing exercise. Edha sa, fuel. Agnina, by the fire. Nirgatena, issuing out. Muneh, of the great sage. Murdhanaha, top of the head. Samikshya, looking over. Prabhavaha, Prabhavaha Trayaha, the three great gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. While Atrimuni was engaged in these severe austerities, a blazing fire came out of his head due to his breathing exercise, and that fire was seen by the three principal deities of the three worlds. Purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the fire of pranayama is mental satisfaction, and that was perceived by the supersoul Vishnu, and thereby Lord Brahma and Shiva also perceived it. By his breathing exercise, Atrimuni concentrated on the supersoul or the Lord of the universe. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord of the universe is Vasudeva, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. And by the direction of Vasudeva, the Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva work. Therefore, on the direction of Vasudeva, both Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva perceived the severe penance adopted by Atrimuni, and thus they were pleased to come down as stated in the next verse. Text 22. Apsaro Muni Gandharva Siddha Vidyadharo Raggaihi Vitayamana यशसस् तदाश्रम padam yayuhu synonyms. Apsaraha, heavenly society women. Muni, great sages. Gandharva, inhabitants of the Gandharva planet. Siddha, of Siddhaloka. Vidyadhara, other demigods. Uragaihi, the inhabitants of Nagaloka. Vitaya mana, being spread. Yashasaha, fame, reputation. Tat, his. Ashrama padam, hermitage. Yayuhu, went. Translation. At the time the three deities approached the hermitage of Atrimuni, accompanied by the denizens of the heavenly planets such as the celestial beauties, the Gandharvas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, and Nagas, and thus they entered the ashrama of the great sage who had become so famous by his austerities. Purport. It is advised in the Vedic literatures that one should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the universe and who is the Master of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. He is known as the Supersoul, and when one worships the Supersoul, all other deities, such as Brahma and Shiva, appear with Lord Shiva because they are directed by the Supersoul. Text 23. तत्प्रदुर्भाव संयोग विदोतित मना मुनिः उत्तिष्ठन् एकपादेन ददर्श विबुध ऋषभान् synonyms. Tat, there. Pradurbhava, appearance. Samyoga, simultaneously. Vidyotita, enlighten. Manaha, in the mind. Munihi, the great sage. Uttishtan, being awakened. Ekapadena, even on one leg. Dadarsha, Sa, Vibhuda, demigods, Rishabhan, the great personalities. Translation: The sage was standing on one leg, but as soon as he saw that the three deities had appeared before him, he was so pleased to see them all together that despite great difficulty, he approached them on one leg. Text 24. Pranamya Dandavad Bhumav Upataste Upatas Upatas Upataste Upataster Hana Hanangalihi Vrishahamsa Suparna Sthan Swais Chihnaischa Chihnitan. Synonyms: Pranamya, offering obeisances, Dandavat, like a rod, Bhumau, ground, Upataste, fell down, Arhana, all paraphernalia for worship, Anjalihi, folded hands, Vrisha, bull, Hamsa, swan, Suparna, the Garuda bird, Sthan, situated, Swaihi, own, Swaihi, own, Chihnai by symbols Cha and Chihnitan, being recognized. Translation: Thereafter, he began to offer prayers to the three deities who were seated on different carriers, a bull, a swan, and Garuda, and who held in their hands a drum, kushagras, and a discus. The sage offered them his respects by falling down like a stick. Purport: Danda means a long rod and Vat means like. Before a superior, one has to fall down on the ground just like a stick, and this sort of offering of respect is called Dandavat. Atri Rishi offered his respect to the three deities in that way. They were identified by their different carriers and different symbolic representations. In that connection, it is stated here that Lord Vishnu was sitting on Garuda, a big qualine bird, and was carrying in his hand a disc. Brahma was sitting on a swan and had in his hand kushagras, and Lord Shiva was sitting on a bull and was carrying in his hand a small drum called a damaru. Atri Rishi recognized them by their symbolic representations and different carriers, and thus he offered them prayers and respects. Text 25. Kripavalokena asad vadanenopalambhitan tadrochisha pratihate nimilya munir akshini. Synonyms: Kripavalokena, glancing with mercy, Hasat, smiling, Vadanena, with faces, Upalambhitan, appearing very much satisfied, Tat, their, Rochisha, by the glaring effulgence, Pratihate, being dazzled, Emilia, closing, Munihi, the sage, Akshini, his ears, his eyes. Translation: Atrimuni was greatly pleased to see that the three devas were gracious towards him. His eyes were dazzled by the effulgence of their bodies, and therefore he closed his eyes for the time being. Purport: Since the deities were smiling, he could understand that they were pleased with him. Their glaring bodily effulgences were intolerable to his eyes, so he closed them for the time being. Texts 26 and 27. Chetastat pratranam. Come down, bro. The Sanskrit is not that clear. Chetastat pravanam yunjan astavit samhatanjalihi श्लक्ष्णया सूक्तया वाचा सर्वलोक गरीयसः अत्रिर्वाचा विश्वोद्भव स्थिति लयेषु विभज्यमानैर् मायागुणैर् अनुयुगं विगृहीत देहाः ते ब्रह्म विष्णु गिरीशाः प्रणतः अस्मि अहं वस् तेभ्यः क एव भगवतां म इहोपहूतः synonyms चेतः heart tat pravanam fixing on them yunjan making astavit offered prayers samhata anjalihi with folded hands slakshanaya ecstatic suktaya prayers vacha words sarvaloka all over the world gariyasaha honorable atri uvacha atri said vishwa the universe udbhava creation sthiti maintenance layeshu in destruction vibhajyamanaihi being divided maya gunaihi by the external modes of nature anuyugam according to different millenniums vigrihita accepted dehah bodies they brahma lord brahma vishnu lord vishnu girisah lord shiva प्रणतः bowed asmi yam aham I vaha unto you tebhyah from them kaha who eva certainly bhavatam of you may by me iha here upahutah called for. Translation. But since his heart was already attracted by the deities, somehow or other, he gathered his senses, and with folded hands and sweet words, he began to offer prayers to the predominating deities of the universe. The great sage Atri said, O Brahma, O Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, you have divided yourself into three bodies by accepting the three modes of material nature as you do in every millennium for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. I offer my respectful obeisance unto all of you and beg to inquire whom of you three I have called by my prayer. Purport. Atri Rishi said, Adrisity called for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Jagadishvara, the Lord of the universe. The Lord must exist before the creation, otherwise, how could he be its Lord? If someone constructs a big building, this indicates that he must have existed before the building was constructed. Therefore, the Supreme Lord, the creator of the universe, must be transcendental to the material modes of nature. But it is known that Vishnu takes charge of the mode of goodness, Brahma takes charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva takes charge of the mode of ignorance. Therefore, Atrimuni said, the Jagadishvara, the Lord of the universe, must be one of you. But since three of you have appeared, I cannot recognize whom I have called. You are all so kind. Please let me know who is actually Jagadishvara, the Lord of the universe. In fact, Atri Rishi was doubtful about the constitutional position of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, but he was quite certain that the Lord of the universe cannot be one of the creatures created by Maya. His very inquiry about whom he called for indicates that he was in doubt about the constitutional position of the Lord. Therefore, he prayed to all three, kindly let me know who is the transcendental Lord of the universe. He was, of course, certain that not all of them could be the Lord, but the Lord of the universe was one of the three. Text 28. एको मयेह भगवान् विविध प्रधानैश्च चित्तीकृतः प्रजननाय कथं नु यूयम् अत्र गतास् तनुभृताम् मनसोऽपि दूराद् भूर्त प्रसीदत महान् यः विस्मयो मे synonyms एकः one मया by me यह here भगवान great personality विविधा various प्रधानैः by paraphernalia चित्तीकृतः fixed in mind प्रजननाय for begetting a child katam how come nu however you all of you atra here agataha appeared tanubhrutam of the embodied manasaha the minds api although durat from far beyond bhuta kindly explain prasidata being visible to me mahan very great iha this vismayah doubt may of mine. Translation: I called for the supreme personality of godhead desiring a son like him, and I thought of him only, but although he is far beyond the mental speculation of man, all three of you have come here. Finally let me know how you have come, for I am greatly bewildered about this. Purport: Atri Muni was confidently aware that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord of the universe, so he prayed for the one Supreme Lord. He was surprised, therefore, that three of them appeared. Text 29. Maitreya Vacha iti tasya vachah srutva treyasते vibudha ऋषभाः प्रत्याहुः श्लक्ष्णया वाचा प्रहस्यतं ऋषिं प्रभो. Synonyms: Maitreya Vacha, the sage Maitreya said, iti, thus, tasya, his, vachah, words, srutva, after hearing, trayah, they, all three, vibudha, demigods, rishabah, chiefs, pratyahu, replied, slakshnaya, gentle, vacha, voices, prahasya, smiling, tam, unto him, rishim, the great sage, prabhu, O mighty one. Translation: the great sage Maitreya continued, the three great deities smiled upon hearing Atri Muni speak in that way, and they replied in the following sweet words. Text 30. Deva uchuhu Deva uchuhu yatha krutaste संकल्पो भाव्यं तेनैव नान्यथा सत्संकल्पस्य ते ब्रह्मन् यद्वै ध्यायति ते वयम्. Synonyms: Deva Uchuhu, the demigods replied, Yatha, as, Kritaha, done, te, by you, Sankalpaha, determination, Bhavyam, to be done, Tena eva, by that, na anyata, not otherwise, Satsankalpasya, one whose determination is never lost, te, of you, Brahman, O great Brahmana, yat, that which, why, certainly, dhyayati, meditating, they, all of them, vayam, we are. Translation: the three deities told Atri Muni, Dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, so as you have decided, so it will happen, it will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating, and we have all come to you. Purport: Atri Muni unspecifically thought of the personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, although he had no clear idea of the Lord of the universe nor of his specific form. Mahavishnu, from whose breathing millions of universes emanate and into whom they are again withdrawn, may be accepted as the Lord of the universe. Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, from whose abdomen sprouted the lotus flower, which is the birthplace of Brahma, can also be considered the Lord of the universe. Similarly, Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu, who is the super soul of all living entities, can also be considered the Lord of the universe. Then, under the order of Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu, the Vishnu form within the universe, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva can also be accepted as the lords of the universe. Vishnu is the Lord of the universe because he is its maintainer. Similarly, Brahma creates the different planetary systems and the population. So he can also be considered the Lord of the universe. Or Lord Shiva, who is ultimately the destroyer of the universe, also can be considered its Lord. Therefore, since Atri Muni did not specifically mention whom he wanted, all three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, came before him. They said, since you were thinking of having a son exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, your determination will be fulfilled. In other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to one's desire, maybe. Come down to according to the strength of one's devotion. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan Pitrun Yanti Pitru Vrataha. If one is attached to a particular demigod, he is promoted to the abode of the demigod. If one is attached to the Pitris or forefathers, he is promoted to their planet. And similarly, if one is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he is promoted to the abode of Lord Krishna. Etrimuni actually had no clear conception of the Lord of the universe. Therefore, the three presiding deities who are actually the lords of the universe in the three departments of the modes of nature all came before him. Now, according to the strength of his determination for a son, his desire would be fulfilled by the grace of the Lord. Text 31. अतास्मद् अस्म भूतास्ते आत्मजालोक विश्रुताः भवित्रावोग्न भद्रं ते विस्रप्स्याम विस्रप्स्यन्ति च ते यशः synonyms. अथा therefore अस्मत् our अस्मो amsa bhutaah plenary expansions te your atmajah sons loka visrutaah very famous in the world bhavitarah in the future will be born anga dear great sage bhadram all good fortune te unto you visrapsyanti will spread cha also te your yasha reputation. Translation: you will have sons who will represent a partial manifestation of our potency, and because we desire all good fortune for you, those sons will glorify your reputation throughout the world. Purport. There is no purport. Text 32. Evam kamavaram dattva pratijag evam kamavaram dattva प्रतिजग्मुः सुरेश्वराः सभाजितास्तयोः सम्यग् दम्पत्योर्मिषोत मिषो मिषतोस् ततः synonyms एवं thus कामवरम desired benediction dattva offering prati jagmuhu returned sura ishvaraha the chief demigods sabhajitaha being worshipped tayoh while they samyak perfectly dampatyoh the husband and wife mishatoh very were looking on tataha from there. Translation: thus while the couple looked on, the three deities Brahma, Vishnu, and Brahmeswara disappeared from the place after bestowing upon Atrimuni the benediction. Text 33. समोभूद् ब्रह्मणोंशेन दत्तो विष्णोस्तु योगवित् दुर्वासाः शङ्करस्यांशो निबोधाङ्गिरसः प्रजाः synonyms. Somaha, the king of the moon planet, Abhut appeared Brahmanah of Lord Brahma, Amshena, partial expansion, Dattaha, Dattatreya, Vishnoha, of Vishnu, too, but yoga with very powerful yogi, Durvasaha, Durvasa, Shankarasya, Amshaha. Partial expansion of Lord Shiva, Nibodha. Just try to understand Angirasaha of the great sage Angira, Prajaha, generations. Translation. Therefore, thereafter, from the partial representation of Brahma, the moon god was born of them. From the partial representation of Vishnu, the great mystic Dattatreya was born. And from the partial representation of Shankara, Lord Shiva, Durvasa was born. Now you may hear from me of the many sons of Angira. Text 34. श्रद्धा त्वंगिरसः पत्नी चतस्रोसूत कन्यकाः सिनीवाली कुहु राका चतुर्थ्यानुमतिस्तथा. Synonyms. श्रद्धा तू, but अंगीरसः of अंगीरसा ऋषि, पत्नी wife, चतस्रः 4, आसूता gave birth, Kanyakaha daughters, Sinivali, Kuhu, Raka, Chaturthi, the fourth one, Anumati, Tatha also. Translation. Angira's wife, Shraddha, gave birth to 4 daughters named Sinivali, Kuhu, Raka, and Anumati. Text 35. तत पुत्र्याव अपर्याव आस्ताम खयातौ स्वारोचिष्येन्तरे हुतथ्यो भगवान् साक्षाद् ब्रह्मशीथाश्च बृहस्पतिः. Synonyms. Tat, his putriyo, sons. Aparau, others. Astam, were born. Khyatau, very famous. Swarochishe, in the Swarochisha millennium. Antare, of the Manu. Hutatya, Bhagavan, very mighty. Akshat, directly. Sakshat, directly. Brahmishataha, cha, fully spiritually advanced. Brihaspati. Translation. Besides these 4 daughters, she also had another 2 sons. One of them was known as Utatya, and the other one was the learned scholar Brihaspati. Text 36. Pulasyo janayat patniyam agastyam cha avirbhuvi sonya janmani dahrangir Visravascha Mahatapaha. Synonyms. Pulasya, the sage Pulasya. Ajanayat, begot. Patnyam, in his wife. Agasyam, the great sage Agasya. Cha, also. Havirbhuvi, in Havirbhu. Saha, he, Agasya. Anya Janmani, in the next birth. Radragnihi, the digesting fire. Visrava, cha, and Mahatapaha, greatly powerful because of austerity. Translation. Pulasya begot in his wife Havirbhu one son of the name Agatsya, who in his next birth became Dahragni. Besides him, Pulasya begot another very great and saintly son, whose name was Visrava. Text 37. Tasya yaksha patir devaha kuberas tvida vida सुतः रावणः कुम्भकर्णस्य च तथान्यस्यां विभीषणः synonyms तस्य his यक्षपतिः the great sage of yakshas devah demigod kubera two and idavida of idavida sutah son ravana kumbhakarna cha also tatha so anya anyasyam in the other Vibhishana. Translation: Visrava had two wives. The first wife was Idavida, from whom Kuvera, the master of all Yakshas, was born, and the next wife was named Keshini, and from her were born three sons Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana. Text 38. Pulasyasya gatir bharya त्रीन् असूता सती सुतान् कर्मश्रेष्ठं वीर्यांसं सहिष्णुं च महामते synonyms पुलस्य of pulahasya of pulaha. Go Prabhu a little bit. Pulahasya of pulaha gatihi gati bharya wife three asuta gave birth sati chaste sutan sons karmashreshtam very expert in fruitive activities variyamsam very respectful sahishnum very tolerant cha also mahamate oh great vidura. Translation: Gati, the wife of the sage Pulaha, gave birth to three sons named Karmashreshta, Variyan, and Sahishnu, and all of them were great sages. Purport: Gati, the wife of Pulaha, is the fifth daughter of Kardama Muni. She was very faithful to her husband, and all her sons were as good as him. Text 39. कर्तोरपि क्रिया भार्या वालकिल्यान् असूयता ऋषीन् षष्टि सहस्राणि ज्वलतो ब्रह्म तेजसा synonyms Krato of the great sage Kratu api also kriya bharya wife valakilyan just like valakilya asuyata begot rishin sages shashti 60 sahasrani 1000 jwalataha very brilliant brahma tejasa by dint of the brahman effulgence. Translation: Kratu's wife Kriya gave birth to 60,000 great sages named the Valakilyas. All these sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge. Purport: Kriya is the sixth daughter of Kardama Muni, and she produced 60,000 sages who were known as the Valakilyas because they all retired from family life as vanaprasthas. Text 40. Urjayam jajnire putra vashishtasya parantapa chitraketu pradhanaste sapto brahmarashnoi malaha synonyms urjayam in urja jajnire took birth putra sons vasishtasya of the great sage vasishta parantava o great one chitraketu pradhanah headed by te all the sons sapta seven brahmarshayah great sages with spiritual knowledge amalah without contamination. Translation: the great sage Vasishta begot in his wife Urja, sometimes called Arundhati, 7 spotlessly great sages headed by the sage named Chitraketu. Text 41. Chitraketu Surochishcha Viraja Mitra Yevacha Ulbano Vasubhridhyayno Dhyuman Shakti Adayo Pare. Synonyms: Chitraketu, Surochi Cha and Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Eva also Cha and Ulbana, Ulbana, Vasubhridhyana, Dyuman, Shakti Adayaha, sons headed by Shakti, Apare, from his own wife. Translation: the names of these 7 sages are as follows: Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulbana, Vasubhridhyana, and Dyuman. Some other very competent sons were born from his other wives. Purport: Urja, who is sometimes known as Arundhati and is the wife of Vasishta, is the 9th daughter of Kardama Muni. Text 42. Chittis Tvatharvanaha Patni Lebhe Putram Dritavratam Dadyam Cham Ashwashiram Sirasam Bhrugor Vamsham Nibodhame. Synonyms: Chitti, tu, also, Atharvanaha, of Atharva, Patni, wife, Lebhe, got, Putram, son, Dhritavratam, completely dedicated to a vow, Dadhyancham, Ashwashira, Bhrugoho Vamsham, generations of Bhrigu, Nibodha, try to understand, me, from me. Translation: Chitti, wife of the sage Atharva, gave birth to a son named Ashwashira by accepting a great vow called Dadhyancha. Now you can hear from me about the descendants of the sage Bhrigu. Purport: the wife of Atharva, known as Chitti, is also known as Shanti and is the 8th daughter of Kardamuni. Text 43. Bhrigu Katya Prabhu Khayatyam Mahabhagah Patnyam Putryan Ajijanat Dhataram cha Vidhataram Shriyam cha Bhagavat Param. Synonyms: Bhrigu, the great sage Bhrigu, Khayatyam, in his wife Khyati, Mahabhagaha, great fortunate, Patnyam, unto the wife, Putryan, sons, Janat, gave birth, Dhata, cha, also, Vidhata, Sriyam, daughter named Sri, cha, Bhagavat Param, and a great devotee of the Lord. Translation: the great Bhrigu was highly fortunate, and in his wife, known as Khyati, he begot 2 sons named Dhata and Vidhata, and 1 daughter named Sri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 42. Ayatim Niyatim Chaiva.
Prabhu, you said 42.
Oh, did I say 42? Okay. Text 44.
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry for correcting.
No problem.
Oh,
Text 4.
1 second, Prabhu, 1 second. Hare Krishna, Manu Prabhu, Tandar Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Dheeraj Prabhu, Vivek Prabhu, Tandar Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Asusita,
Krishna
Prabhu joined.
Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhu, so
Very
many
happy to be
joined
here.
suddenly.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please remove with our Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for here joining. I hope you're all doing well.
I'm doing well now. I'd rather be here with the devotees, you know.
Oh, you're back?
No, what? No, no, no. I'm not like in
Oh.
Canada.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. Yes, now I understood. Yes, Prabhu. So you've been feeling good?
I'm feeling a little bit better each day and everything. I still have to get the medicine from the GI doctor and everything.
Yes, Prabhu,
They
but
stop-
don't have to be in bed anymore. Is it like that?
No, I'm back home with my family right now.
Oh,
Got
Haribo.
discharged.
Yes, Prabhu, very nice. Slowly it will get better.
Slowly it'll get better, bro. Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's continue at least few verses. We have progressed nicely today. But seems this first chapter is really long.
Yes, Prabhu, there are 60 plus verses, I think, if I'm not
Yes,
wrong. Okay. Yeah, text 44. Ayatim niyatim chaiva sute merusthayor adat tabhyam tayor abhavatam mrikandah prana eva cha synonyms ayati niyati cha eva also sute daughters meruhu the sage meru tayoh unto those two adat gave in marriage tabhyam of out of them tayoh both of them abhavatam appeared mrikanda prana eva certainly cha. End translation. The sage Meru had two daughters, named Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charity to Dhata and Vidhata. They gave birth to two sons, Mrikanda and Prana. Text 45. Markandeyo Mrikandasya Pranad Vedashira Munihi Kavischa Bhargavo Yasya Bhagavan Ushana Sutaha. Synonyms: Markandeya Mrikandasya of Mrikanda, Pranat from Prana, Vedashira Munihi great sage, Kavihi cha of the name Kavi, Bhargavaha of the name Bhargava, Yasya whose, Bhagavan greatly powerful, Ushana Sukracharya Sutaha son. Translation: from Markandeya Muni was born, and from Mrikanda Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana the sage Vedashira, whose son was Ushana Sukracharya, also known as Kavi. Thus, Kavi also belonged to the descendants of the Bhrigu dynasty. Text 46 and 47. Tayete munayah kshattar lokan sargair abhavayan yesha kardama dauhitra santanah kathitas tava shrinvatah श्रद्धदयानस्य सद्यः पापहरः परः प्रसूतिं मानवीं दक्ष उपयेम मे ह्यजातमजः. Synonyms: एते all, munayah great sages, kshattaha of Vidura, lokan the three worlds, sargaihi with their descendants, abhavayan filled, yeshaha this, kardama of the sage kardama, dauhitra grandsons, santanaha offspring, katitaha already spoken, tava unto you, shrinvatah hearing, shraddhanyasya of the faithful, sadyah immediately, Papa Haraha, reducing all sinful activities. Paraha, great. Prasutim, Prasuti, Mananvim, daughter of Manu. Dakshaha, King Daksha, Upayeme, married. He, certainly. Ajata Majaha, son of Brahma. Translation. My dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages. Actually, all of them were born of the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the descriptions of this dynasty with faith will be revealed from all sinful reactions. Another daughter of Manu, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. Next 48. Tasyam sasarja दुहित्रिः षोडशामला लोचनाः त्रयोदशादाय धर्माय तथाइकाम अग्ने विभुः. Synonyms. Tasyam, unto her, sasarja, created, duhitrihi, daughters, shodasa, 16, amala lochana, with lotus like eyes, trayodasha, 13, adat, gave, dharmaya, to dharma, tatha, so, ekam, one daughter, agnaye, to agni, vibhuhu, daksha. Translation. Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus-like eyes in his wife Prasuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma and one daughter was given to Agni.
Okay,
Text,
Haribol, this is last one.
Text 49 to 52. पितृभ्य एकम युक्तेभ्यो भवायैकाम भव छिदे श्रद्धा मैत्री दया शांतिस् तुष्टिः पुष्टिः क्रियोन्नतिः बुद्धिर्मेधा तितिक्ष्णा ह्रीर् मूर्तिर् धर्मस्य पत्न्यः श्रद्धासूत शुभं मैत्री प्रसादम् अभयं दया शांतिः सुखं मुदं तुष्टिः संयम पुष्टिर् असूयता योगं क्रियोन्नतिर्दर्पम् अर्थं बुद्धिर् असूयता मेधा स्मृतिं तितिक्षा तु क्षेमं ह्रीः प्रश्रयं सुतं मूर्तिः सर्वगुणोत्पत्तिर् नर नारायणावृषि. Synonyms. पितृभ्यः of the to the pitas ekam, one daughter, yuktebhyah, the assembled, bhavaya, to Lord Shiva, ekam, one daughter, bhavachidde, who delivers from the material entanglement, Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shantihi, Tushtihi, Pushtihi, Kriya, Unnatihi, Buddhihi, Medha, Titikshna, Krihi, Murtihi. Names of 13 daughters of Daksha, Dharmasya, of Dharma, Patnayaha, the wives, Shraddha, Asuta, gave birth to Subham, Subha, Maitri, Prasada, Abhaya, Daya, Shanti, Sukham, Sukha, Muda, Tushti, Samya, Pushti, Asuyata, gave birth to Yogam, Yoga, Kriya, Unnati, Darpa, Artha, Buddhi, Asuyata, begot Medha, Medha, Smritim, Smriti, Titiksha, to also Kshemam, Kshema, Hrihi, Hri, Prashraya, Sutam, Sun, Murtihi, Murti, Sarva Guna, of all respectable qualities, Utpattihi, the reservoir, Nara Narayana, both Nara and Narayana, Rishi, the two sages. Translation: one of the remaining two daughters was given in charity to Pitruloka, where she resides very amicably, and the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of sinful persons from material entanglement. The names of the 13 daughters of Daksha who were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Medha, Titiksha, Hri, and Moti. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Subha, Maitri produced Prasada, Daya gave birth to Abhaya, Shanti gave birth to Sukha, Tushti gave birth to Muda, Pushti gave birth to Samya, Kriya gave birth to Yoga, Unnati gave birth to Darpa, Buddhi gave birth to Artha, Medha gave birth to Smriti, Titiksha gave birth to Kshema, and Hri gave birth to Prashraya. Murti, the reservoir of all respectable qualities, gave birth to Sri Naranarayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Haribol. Okay, 53. Yeah, one more, so we stop to even number. Like, no, I mean a single number.
Okay. Text 53. Yayor Janma Yayor Janmanyado Vishwam Abhyandat Sunirvritam Manamsi Kubudho Vataha Praseduhu Sarito Drayaha. Synonyms: Yayoh, both of whom Nara and Narayana Janmani, on the appearance Adaha, that Vishwam, universe, Abhyanandat, became glad, Sunirvritam, full of joy, Mamamshi, everyone's mind, Kukubha, the direction, Vataha, the air, Praseduhu, became pleasant, Saritaha, the reservoirs, Adrayaha, the mountains. Translation: on the occasion of the appearance of Naranarayana, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind became tranquil, and thus, in all directions, the air, the reservoirs, and the mountains became pleasant.
Haribol. Naranarayana ki jai.
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 Okay, now we go to 6 Astakam prayers. Be nice. We read so many verses today. Thank you so much, Praveen Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagninirvapanam Shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नाम्नामकारिबौधा निज सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन काला एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमिदृशम् अयजनीननुग्रह
Trinadapi sunicena tarorapi sahisnuna amanina manatena kirtaniya sadahari.
Najanam Najanam Nasundaram Kavitava Jagadesha Kamaya. Mama Jamani is for Bhavata Bhakti Haitikitoy.
ऐनन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतितां मां विषवयं भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थितदूषदशं विचिन्तय
नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदारुदया गिरा पुलकैर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति.
Yugaitam Nimeshina Shakshusha Parisayitam Sunyayitam Jagasarvam Govinda Vidhiname.
श्लेषवापादरतान् प्रश्वाम् आदर्शनां मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदुराचलं पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्य स एव नापरः.
Haribol. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Oh my Lord, your whole name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have vested all your transcendental energies. They're not your hard and fast rules to chant these names. Oh my Lord, out of your kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your whole names. But I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotion service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, filling with separations, I am considering to be 12 years or more years of flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in rags and rags.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly in his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Shikshastakam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Bahujanma kare adi Shravana Kirtan, Tabutana paya Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is infested with the 10 offenses in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many birds, he will not get the love of God. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. The 10 offenses against the holy name are as follows. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu.
What's the next one? Number 4?
3.
To disobey the orders of the spiritual master and to consider him as an ordinary person.
Fourth offense, to blaspheme the Vedic church or liturgy in Persians to the Vedic version.
Fifth, to consider the progress of the chanting Hare Krishna to be the imagination.
Sixth, to give mundane interpretation on the whole name of the Lord.
Seventh offense, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
Eighth, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna to be one of the species of activities offered in the Vedas as activities conduct.
9, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name of the Lord.
10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name. and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inherent to while chanting. Every devotee plans to Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success Krishna Prema.
Let us offer
I
our
offer
respectful
my
obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like these are trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls.
Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasinduvyascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananda Gaudiya Vaishnavita ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhus. Made my day to see so many devotees join again today. Thank you so much for association. All glories to Shri
Thank
Prabhupada.
you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Whenever we read again. Hari Bol.